Hello and welcome back to the Category Mistake. I am your host, Richard Mariello, and I am here tonight to talk about one of two things. This episode is going to be about the daughters slash women in the world. Very large amount of people there, about 3.8 billion of you. Over the last couple of weeks, I've been on a trip. I went on a cruise with my wife with some friends, and I was thinking to myself that I have a lot of daughters slash kids slash older women slash younger women all in my life. And a lot of them, I'm kind of like, I feel like a dad figure to them. I want to protect them. I want to encourage them. I want to be there for them. I want to be a positive role model in their life. And that's not because women are weaker or all that garbage that someone's going to tell me I'm doing in a comment. I want to talk to y'all because daughters don't get enough credit for things. Now, I have daughters, some adopted, some not. Trust me, they're all mine. I'll always answer the phone for them. I always try to be there for them. And there's other girls in my life that we've helped raise or we've raised with or been part of our lives that I still feel responsible for them. Now, someone else is going to comment that, I'm a dirty old man, something stupid because that's what people do. But listen, when you have a passion for teaching, for helping people, for being there for people, it becomes an obsession. It becomes part of who you are. Now, over the last 2 years, I have not been teaching, but before that I taught. Everyone knows that. If you've ever listened to the podcast, you know I'm a teacher. That's really what my heart is. And even when I was teaching, and not teaching, but even when I was teaching, I had a lot of students who were female, daughters of somebody else. I felt a certain responsibility to them. Now, I felt that responsibility not because, I thought I was better than them or their dad wasn't doing a good enough job or anything else. I felt the responsibility for them because even though in today's world, there's girl power, there's girls can do anything boys can do, there's all of that stereotypical girl power stuff. A lot of girls, a lot of daughters, a lot of women have this feeling sometimes that they're still not good enough, or I can't do math, or I can't do this, or I can't do history, or I can't do science, or I can't do this job, or I can't do this. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough. Now, I have boys, and that'll be actually the next podcast is on my sons and men and boys out there. Men, boys, sons have a different set of insecurities. The girls in my life, now I'm not a girl. I'm not saying I am. I am going to give you my perspective as a dad, as a husband, as a grandfather, as a teacher, as a human being. Just my opinion. Okay? In my whole time on this planet, girls, daughters, sisters, I'm just going to say girls for the rest of the podcast. You know what I mean. The whole genre of people like that have always fascinated me to the point where I don't get it. And so, case in point, I met my wife. She was in high school. Okay. I was in high school graduating. She was a junior. She was a year behind me. My wife, smartest woman I know. 2 master's degrees, just a flippin' genius. Okay. I know a few smarter on paper women, but I'd put them up against my wife any day of the week. Okay. High school. I meet her. She's a band geek. She loves bands. She loves music. Great. Comes time to take tests. I can't take tests. I'm horrible at tests. I'm not very smart. I'm going to go to college, do music, da-da-da-da. She doesn't go to college to do music. Instead, she marries me. I know, bad choice. Anyway, She marries me, have children. Years go by. Years go by. And she gets her associate's degree from a local community college. I get home from a deployment and she's like, hey, I'd like to go to school. Great. I don't know if I can do this. She didn't have that confidence still. Now, by this time, she's had 3 birth kids. We've had foster kids, adopted kids, and everything in between. She has balanced home life, work balance thing like mad crazy. I was gone for basically 2 years. She balanced and fixed the house, made everything run. I couldn't do that. I can't do it for a day. She did it for like 2 years. But she didn't know if she could handle school. Please, girl, okay? And I encouraged her. But even when she was going to school, she mentally struggled saying, I don't know, I can't, all that stuff. And she did it. She graduated, got her master's. Then she realized she had to do another set of classes for the state we live in to do what she really wanted to do. So she went back to school, got another master's. But this time she had to take a test at the end, and she didn't do so well. I don't want to keep taking this test. I'm going to fail. Finally, she passes the test. She's doing the job that she loves. It's one of those jobs, though, that after like 2 to 3 years, you have to work so many hours. You have to take the big national big test. So she took the big test. The last one is the big test. And she's still nervous. And it's perplexing to me because I'm thinking to myself, girl, you're doing all of this and you're worried about a test. Then go back. Let's go back to 2018. 2018, I graduate college. I start teaching. I teach at a school. I go to a school where these kids are smarter than any public school, a little private school, middle of nowhere, little private school. You would think these kids are confident. Their parents are pushing them. They're high achievers. I still meet a bunch of girls who have no confidence. Now, some of them have no confidence, but what they do is they give the attitude like they're better, they're good, they know what they're doing, they're smart, but they're not going to take my tude. They're better than me. The whole what are you going to teach us? You don't know nothing. You know who you are. But I knew that they could, but they still weren't as confident as I thought they would be. And then after time and time, they got more confident. But even talking to some of them today, I realized they're surprised when they do amazing. And I tell them, hey, you're doing amazing. You're doing spectacular. You're amazing. You're great. Awesome job. And it takes them aback. And I don't know if that's on me because I didn't encourage them enough, or if it's on society, or if it's just the way their genetic makeup is. I don't know. And then go further back. I have daughters, okay? I have a daughter who went to college, got 2 majors, love her to pieces. She has no confidence in her ability. She says she does, but she's nervous about it. And I just want to shake her and say, hey, girl, you got this. But she's not my little girl anymore. It's not my place, but I really want it to be. And that's what I've realized is that me personally, now I know other dads, but I'm going to go with me personally. I see my wife as my wife, but I see my old students who are 19, 20, 18, 17, graduating high school, in college, the whole gambit. I see them as the kids they were then, not the kids they are now. Because sometimes when I talk to them, they still have that insecurity, like they want someone to say, hey, you're good enough. You've got this. Have confidence in yourself because I do. I have confidence in you. And I'm speaking to some of you directly. Okay. I have 100% confidence in you. Okay. It doesn't matter what your real dad, quote unquote, says or your, other people in your life say. They only think of you as 5-year old or 6-year old. See, I do that sometimes with my daughter and my other kids. I look at them as they're young and they're innocent, but you're growing up. And the other day, actually, yeah, the other day I was talking to my older daughters, a couple of them, and I finally looked at them and said, wait a minute, they're not 7, they're not 10, they're in their 20s and 30s. They're making life choices, and I've got to let them make it without feeling like I have to protect them from themselves. I have students who are in college, and they're nervous or anxious. Should I take this? Should I do this? Hey, I'm doing this. And I want to just say, hey, I want to run down there and just say, be a cheerleader, rah, rah, sis, boom, bach. But I'm not. One, it'd be a little creepy. Two, they've got this. My students, my kids, my wife, other wives, other kids, other girls in this world, you've got this. You don't need a guy or your dad or your mom or your great aunt Ida telling you that you're amazing. Now, most of you are, okay? Uh, but you don't need it. I will always encourage my kids. And if you're one of my students, I'll always encourage you. Now, I won't BS you though. Okay. There's some of you out there that, you know, yeah, I look at your papers you're writing for your high school or college professors. I'm going, I know you can do better than that. And I'll push you. And it's not because I think you're dumb or I think that you're not good enough. It's because I know you're good enough. I know what you can do. And when you don't do it, it drives me bananas because you're smart enough. I have seen kids that I've taught, I see my children do magical, amazing things. And when they tell me, oh, it's hard, oh, be quiet. It's hard because you're learning and you're growing. My sons and probably my daughters, but they never complained as much as my sons did. They grow and they have these growing pains in their knees or in their hips or in their growing pains. Everyone's heard about them. That's just something. That's just a word we all use, right? Growing pains is just like that with life. Life is not, hey, one day I'm a high school student, the next day I'm a college graduate doing speech therapy at a school that I've never heard of because they're going to pay me $1 million. There's no such thing out there like that, okay? You cannot go from college to your perfect dream job making 6 figures a year the next day. It doesn't work that way. If it does for you, great. I don't know how it works for you that way, but if it works, great. It doesn't for normal people. You have to go through a lot of stupid to get to your dream. My wife did that. She raised a bunch of kids. She dealt with me as her husband. And then she went and followed her dream. And I'm so proud of her for doing it because guess what? I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it because I'm afraid to do it. I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to finish my degree, talk to my wife, and I realize it's probably a good idea. Okay. But it's hard. It's scary. And I used to think when I heard women say, oh, it's hard to do it as a woman. Da, da, da. You're right. It probably is. Okay. I will give you all the credit in the world. It probably is very hard as a woman to do certain things. But I'm going to be honest with you. It's probably not the men in your life making it hard. It's probably yourself. A lot of women I know, a lot of girls I know, good, bad, or ugly, they self-sabotage. Okay. They use the excuse of, I'm a girl, no one's going to take me seriously. Or, I don't get the same chances as everybody else. You do. You do. Sometimes when you're afraid, you fall back on the, you know, no one appreciates me. I'm a girl, so they don't think I can do it. Listen, if you're a girl I know, no matter what your age, you can do it. Okay. If you're a girl I don't know, you probably can still do it. You having some guy tell you, or some teacher, or some professor, or some hack out there tell you that you can't do it, you have you have two options, but only one logical option. Two options. You can just say, yeah, they're right. I suck. I shouldn't do it. Or you can say, screw you. I'm doing it anyway. Okay. When I became a teacher, I went to a school. I worked there. And the principal, her and I didn't get along. And in the beginning, I was very scared of her because, I didn't want her, firing me. But what I noticed is her dislike for me actually made me want to prove her wrong more. Okay. I wanted to teach in a way that no one else had at that school. And I wanted to push my students to be better than what she expected. And that's because she didn't expect anything. She made me feel like I was just there to fill a spot. And, once she could, she'd find a replacement and get rid of me. That didn't happen that way, but I took it personal. First couple months I taught a bunch of kids that didn't, they were graduating 8th grade. They didn't care about me at all. But the next year, I taught kids that I'd started teaching the year before, and I taught them for a full year. And I pushed those kids. Here's how hard I pushed those kids. I pushed those kids so hard. Their parents were complaining to the principal at a private school that I was pushing them too hard. That's when you know you're pushing a kid hard. Now, I wasn't pushing them hard to be like, oh my God, look how great I am. I'm so smart. I was pushing them hard because I saw what they could do and no one asked them to do it. No one ever said, hey, you got this. You can do this. A lot of times they say, the students say, I can't do it. Okay, well, let's see what else we can do. No, I know you can do it, so stop. Something as simple as the Gettysburg Address, or the Constitution, or a president's test, or test on the elements. These are all things that I believed, and I was proven right. I think all but 2 students, I was proven right that they could do. The crazy part was I had more faith in those students than a lot of their parents did. And the students' parents who complained the most, no doubt, absolutely 100% of the time, were the girl parents. Well, my daughter can't learn that. Well, that's pushing my daughter too hard. They're not your princesses, okay? They're kids who need to be pushed. Now, if you're a princess and your daddy and your mom is always stuck up for you, great. Amazing. Spec-freaking-tacular. I will never be a teacher where I care about what the parents say. I care about what is best for my students, even if they don't know what's best for them. Okay? Now, is that a dumb philosophy? Absolutely. Is it something I shouldn't do? Probably. Do I care? No. You know why? I'll tell you why. Because in our society that we live in today, when girls do something great, when girls do something amazing, it's like nightly news. Oh my God, look what she's done. I want it to be so normal that we don't celebrate girls doing something normal. Okay. A lot of these girls are doing stuff that's just normal, but they're celebrated for doing average things. There should be women who are doing biochemical engineering and nuclear engineering and all this other stuff. Because guess what? They're half the population. And if we don't start treating them like they're half the population, they're never going to have confidence, and our society will never grow for the better. And that's what's going on. All this girl power crap is great, okay? But it's celebrating mediocrity. I know right now, I know at least 12 girls who will change the world so dramatically. And when I tell them that, they look at me like I have four heads. They're surprised. They shouldn't be. Every day, boy, girl, man, woman, child, we should encourage people to do more, to do better. I've said it once, I've said it a million times. As a human being, as a teacher, as a father, as a grandfather, all I want is my students, my kids, my grandkids, probably my great grandkids. I want them to be better human beings than I was. I always started every year with saying, when you leave this class, I don't care if you know name, dates, locations. What I care about is, are you a good person? Are you a better human being? Are you going to be able to change the world and change things for the better? Because I'll be honest, my generations before me, we screwed this place up. We're really good at screwing things up. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of looking at the world going, what the heck did we do? Okay. And if that means I need Haley Browns in the world and others in this world, Joelles and Charlottes and Pipers and Allisons and Layla and Lila and Marissa's and, oh God, everybody, Barrett's. If I need them to take over the world to fix it, please go. You know, the last election, someone's like, well, we need our first woman president. No, what we need is to not worry about saying the first woman president. How about we just have a good president? You know, the one we have now, not the biggest fan. The one that was running, even a worse fan. The one we had before, not a big fan. I want a president to where when we are done with the 4 years or the 8 years, we can go, you know what? I trusted them. I like them. They did hard things, but they made the right choices. We don't have that. And I don't care if it's a girl. I don't care if it's a guy. Heck, I don't care if it's a dog. But, you know, I have a lot of girls I've taught, and a lot of girls who are my kids, and a lot of girls who think they're my kids. And I believe any of them can run this country better than most of the people in DC right now. I know my history students know more than the people in DC right now. They could probably cite more rules and regulations. God, I had one kid, I did a podcast, and she sent me the video that she made because I had them run for class office. And she sent me her video when she was running for office. Okay. And she did it right. And that was like she was in 7th grade. Minority whip. Okay. How many people know what the heck the minority whip even is? This kid did. This kid did. This kid and other kids in my class, these girls, you know, that supposedly are weak and powerless, can blow the socks off of 97% of the people in DC. Now, are they as fancy as Elon Musk? No. Are they as rude and obnoxious as Donald Trump? No. Are they smarter than them? Absolutely. Would I put Nancy Pelosi against Haley Brown in a debate? And I would bet all my money on Haley Brown. Yes. And Haley Brown would win. Because guess what? Nancy Pelosi doesn't even know the government that she serves. She's been there too long. She forgot what her actual job is. Okay? When Haley Brown changes the world, and then you have Joelle and Charlotte and Piper and Barrett and all the others lined up behind her, and they're all like changing the world, I'm going to be there. And I'm going to be like, I helped. Like that whole Shake and Bake commercial. It's Shake and Bake and I helped. I can say, our country's going to be better and I helped. I helped very little, but I helped. Okay. It's like I added that half teaspoon of baking soda, but it's still something. Okay. And that's what we got to get behind. We got to get behind encouraging our children, our grandchildren, kids on the street, women, men. Let's stick with women. If you know a girl or a woman and they have that I don't know if I can attitude, remind them how special they are. Because here's the thing. None of us on this planet would be here without women. Men, we cannot reproduce by ourselves. Okay? This is not Jurassic Park. We don't find a way. Okay? 100% of women that have had children, they raise that child. Okay? Even if it's for a second. Well, I gave my child up for adoption. That child was in you for almost a year. It fed off of your body. It took your hormones. It took your chromosomes, half of them at least. It read your mind. It heard your noises. It understood your stress. It heard your feelings. It felt your love. It felt your pain. It felt your sadness. It felt your happiness. And it's great. Guess what? As a guy, I can't have that. I will never have a human inside my body like that. Hopefully ever. I couldn't deal with the pain. But you do. And you're really good at it. And then, like my wife, you have kids, and then you're like, you know what? I'm going to go do something more. It's amazing. And for people to say, well, I'm not good enough. You're full of baloney. Okay? These girls I've mentioned by name, they will change the world. And they'll change it in a way that none of us will be disappointed in. Because they're not changing it to make their world better. They're changing it to make our world better. You see, that's the problem we're running into in this society we live in. No one is changing the world for everyone. They're changing the world in a way they think is best for them and their people and the people that agree with them. Instead of just saying, hey, we need a world where we're not sending 18-year-olds over to other countries to die or to get sick or to get blown up or to get hurt or to deal with stress and anxiety and trauma. Hey, we don't need a world where kids can't drink water because guess what? If they do, they'll probably die of poisoning. Hey, let's live in a world where kids can go to school and the school is safe from guns, lead, arsenic, asbestos, and everything else on the planet that will kill them. Hey, let's live in a world where if my kid is sick, I don't have to take out a mortgage against my house to pay for it. Hey, let's live in a world where if I want to go to church and worship God, I don't have to feel bad about it because I live in the wrong sector of the world. I want to live in a world where kids aren't exploited for their work, for their sexuality, for their body parts. I want to live in a world where my kids, my grandkids, my students can wake up every morning and go, you know what? We have some problems. We do. But boy, we're okay. We're never going to be perfect. Never said we would be. But we don't have to be perfect. We just have to be better. And right now, we're not. We're not better. And we're not even trying to be better. I think that's what we need. And it sounds silly. We need women, girls, people like that. We need them. We need the young women to be encouraged, to be inspired, to have us old people, mostly old guys and old women, because I know a lot of mothers who don't encourage their daughters to be more. We don't need to say, oh, it's okay if you failed. No, I expect better. Well, Dad, it was hard. I don't care. Mr. M, you don't understand. I don't. You're right. Do better. But it's really hard to do that Gettysburg Address, or it's really hard for this president test, or it's really hard to know where all these states and capitals and countries are. I don't care. You can do it. I gave a test to some kids at the beginning of the year. And one of my students, I believe she got a 12. Boy, was that crap hitting the fan there. Got a 12. Some of these students got like 16. So it wasn't like she's the only one. Okay. And the point of the test was for them to fail. Now, they didn't know that, and the principal wasn't happy about it, and her parents definitely weren't happy about it. The point of the test was to fail. Now, the reason I say that is this. It was a hard test, okay? If you're told your whole life you're perfect, and if you have a struggle, we're just going to make it go away, you're never going to push yourself and know what you can actually do. That student and all the other students, guess what they did at the end of the year? Same exact test. Actually, I made it harder. They just didn't know that at the time. I made it a lot harder. All of them passed, magically. And they magically passed because at the beginning of the year, I hadn't taught them the material. I gave it to them brand new. And when I gave it to them brand new, they had no idea what was going on. They had no idea anything. They just did it. And at the end of the year, after encouraging them, teaching them, showing them, encouraging some more, having them stress out, having them push themselves to a limit that honestly most students don't get pushed to, they all did amazing. And the grades they got, it wasn't because I was being nice. They earned them. I taught at a school later on where I failed the same student, like same age student, actually high schoolers. I failed them on the same test. And I was told by the administration that I couldn't do that. I was hurting their feelings. And when I said I don't care about their feelings, I care about their education, it wasn't a good thing. And that's the point. I don't want our society to raise girls to be less than. I don't want our society to look at girls as less than. I want us to encourage the women in our lives, no matter the age, encourage them to do more, to push them to do more. Haley, Joelle, Charlotte, Barrett, Piper, Marissa, Layla, Lila, Allison, all of y'all, Abby, all of you, listen. Josephine, Morgan, Vicky, Chloe, Tabitha, Bobby Jean, all of you. I'm proud of you. And if I haven't said that enough, if other people in your life haven't said that enough, it's on us. But I also, hear me very clearly, I also expect greatness. Because I've seen all of you do amazing and great things. And you can't just do it once. Once you do it once, I know you can do it. And I've seen all of you do it on some pretty crazy things. Some of you have been adopted. Some of you have had children. Some of you have had divorces. Some of you have had parents just go bat crap crazy. Some of you had me as a parent. Some of you have gone through crazy things with kids. Some of you have gone through crazy things with your spouses. All of you are superheroes. And, I had someone say this to me, and it's true. At the end of my life, I want a couple different things. One, I want to be, I want, I want, when I die at my funeral, I want people to say, he encouraged me to be more. He wanted me to be more, and I did it. I don't care if you're working for a Fortune 500 company or you're a speech therapist at a little school in Rhode Island. Okay? Are you changing the world for better? Are you helping one person? Help one. Not 4,000. I don't care if you help 4,000. One. When I stepped into my classroom the first day at St. Elizabeth Seton School, I said, I need to change one kid. I want to encourage one kid to be more. Just one. Now, conversations, I think I've done at least 4 or 5, but maybe less. I want to hear in my life that, hey, you helped me be better. I mean, it's selfish, I know. It's like self-grandizing. How I want to hear that I helped somebody. But we all do. You all have helped me. I mean, I've been doing this podcast for like 3 years. And sometimes I'm like, no one cares. And then I get messages saying, hey, when's the next episode? Then I look at the numbers of people listening, going, oh crap, people actually listen to me. So thank you all. And girls that I've mentioned you by name and others who have not, listen, I don't care if you're a girl in India, Indonesia, Belarus, or Bangor, Rochester, Raleigh, North Carolina, or, Ramstein, Germany. I expect you all to change the world. I expect you to be better. We weren't the best. We had some pretty cool music. Without us, there wouldn't be the internet. But you all can do so much more. Till next time, thank you all for listening.